anyway. Feel the fear and do it anyway. Tina Tierney. I wanted to become a world traveler, except I had one small problem. I was afraid to travel internationally. But I did what Susan Angers said in her book. Feel the fear and do it anyway. I am happy to say today, fellow Toastmasters, very welcome guest, I have traveled to 50 countries. Because I said, I want to travel and nothing is going to stand in my way. On that first flight to Europe, I was gripped with fear. And I asked myself, what are you so afraid of? I actually heard the answer. Everything! Good, I said, now that we know what we're afraid of, let's break it down into what are you afraid of today? And what are we going to do about it so we can have the time of our life? 9 months later, on the very same trip, I was reading in Newsweek magazine, Anwar Sadat, the leader of Egypt, had been assassinated. And they had declared martial law. In fact, they went on to say the country might fall into a state of chaos. I bought my ticket anyway. And when I was on that flight to Egypt, just 9 months later, I felt more relaxed on that flight than I feel here today. Until I stepped out of the plane. Whoa! There were over 100 machine guns pointed at me! Oh! I just wanted to run back in that plane and say, forget it. I'll skip Egypt. But oh no, even though my legs had turned to jello as I looked at these soldiers, I walked up to that immigration officer and he says, Madam, where do you have a reservation at tonight? And I had to chuckle. I had not had a single reservation in 9 months. But I didn't know where I was going to stay, and I said, well, I know where I'm going to stay. He said, Madam, when you get there, you better stay there, even if they don't have a room. And I said, well, what would happen if they said they don't have a room and I can't stay there? You will be shot dead right on the spot. That's what martial law is. Now, I would like to point out that this is the type of fear here to protect you. Most of our fears, however, are what they call, and you may have heard it, F for false, E for evidence, appearing real. Most of our fears are in that category. And now my views of fears are very different. I now realize that we are here to grow. And many times when there is a fear, it's a golden opportunity saying, hey, you want to grow in life? You want to really feel alive? Then take this opportunity, even if you're afraid, and do it. Well, on another trip, I was hiking in the Himalayas. The time of my life. Greatest hike I've ever been on. The majestic Himalayas. I was high up there at the Ethniccooker Sanctuary. Wonderful place. I would call it heaven on earth. And after we had reached the Ethniccooker Sanctuary, we were on our way down, celebrating having the time of our life. There was actually a drummer from Spain, a professional. He was drumming and I was dancing. Wow, wow, I went to the Ethniccooker Sanctuary. And then my guide came up to me and said, Madam, you must go to bed now, right away. go to bed. And I continued to have the time of my life, and when I went back to my room, he had been waiting for me. And he chased me all the way back to my room, and I got in my room, and I slammed that door, put the dresser in front of the door, and he proceeded to try to bust down the door. "Madam, I am going to kill you! I am going to kill you! You have disobeyed me!" Oh my God, who am I going to call, I thought. And who would I call in the middle of the Himalayas? There's not even a road to this place I have just hiked to. This is 2 weeks by foot. And he continued to beat that door. And I was afraid. In the morning, I knew that I had to face this guy. And I said to him, "Do you want to be my guide? Because if you ever drink again for the rest of this trek, you will not be my guide." What I would like to leave you with today is, imagine when you arrive on the planet, you're like a twig. And what does a plant need? Water to grow. I would like to have you imagine that you will one day become a magnificent tree if you take these words I've shared with you tonight. The next time you really want to do something, but you're afraid, and as long as it's not one of those situations like in Egypt where you're supposed to stay in the room, do it. Take every opportunity that comes your way in this life. That is feeling the fear and doing it anyway. Please have a great life and live to feel alive. And if you walk through your fears, when I was going to be killed, I never felt more alive in my life, and I was nearly ready to die.